like I am here. It's gorgeous at home in my garden. And today I want to talk about one of the fun things that I like to do in my garden, and it's one of those things where I say get creative when you're in your garden, and that's using containers, container gardening. That could be so many different things. Probably some of the most common things you think about is just like a raised bed. That could just be a flower pot, like terracotta pot, ceramic pot, things like that. But it could also be something that is none of those things. It's not made for planting things in, but you can use so many different other things to plant in, to do vegetables, flowers, herbs, pretty much anything. And it's very easy, and it can make your garden really fun and whimsical with such a personal, creative touch. So I'm going to take you around my garden and show you some of the things that I use to plant in. I'll show you my raised beds, which you've definitely seen before, but they're pretty basic. Then I have lots of other things that I just, fun finds that I have found over the years that I like to use to plant things in, and I will show you around right now. Okay, well, I'll start with the basic. This is my raised beds. I have a bunch of them. You can see those are actually two new ones that are not planted yet. I'm still trying to fill them up. Here's one that is planted. You can get them in all shapes and sizes. They have no bottom to them, so it's just the edges, and you fill it with dirt and you plant whatever you want. And I have some beautiful things in here, some kale, some cabbage, some thyme, and a cool snapdragon underneath my little cold frame. Here's another one, same idea, no bottom to it. I have my potatoes in this one. It's a little taller than the other one, so that's one benefit of a container planting would be some of the raised beds like this you can get but kind of tall. I have another one that's even more tall that's pretty cool. That's great that, you know, if you're older or your back hurts a lot, it's easy to take care of. I'll show you that one too. So here's the other one I was talking about. This is considered a veg trug. I have got this one last year and it is awesome. I have some of my small apple trees in it that I grafted last year, and it works really, really great because it's literally like, this is waist height for me. So like I said, if you're older or you just have back problems or you just wanted to have something simple, this is a great option for a container garden. You can get a lot into it, and it's easy to weed or plant in because of the height. Okay, and in the same area right here, I have a few of my interesting different things maybe that you wouldn't normally plant in. So I have this old enamel tub that already has holes in it because it's rusted in parts. So it's not like I'm ruining a beautiful bowl, but if you had one you wanted to plant in, go for it. That's up to you. I try to not use ones that are like still usable. I don't feel so bad about it then. But this one just has some succulents in it and some anemones and a couple iris actually too. And I planted these last year and they've all come back, and you just want to make sure in containers like this that you have holes in them. If they don't have holes in them because they're rusted, just drill some holes in them. See, that one's got plenty of drainage at the bottom, so that's why these guys are doing great. And then there's simple things like this. Another thing with succulents, it's actually just an old basket. So you have a basket you broke the handle on or something like that, has a hole in the bottom. This obviously is like all drainage because it's a basket and it's woven, so this is great. Again, succulents do really well on that because there's a lot of drainage. And then something as simple as an old bucket. This one actually has, I think it's actually for feeding a calf or a calf waterer, because I think it's supposed to have a piece on there, and so it already has a perfect little drainage spot. So I didn't have to put a hole in this because what I have planted in it right now seems to be doing just fine with just that hole. And sometimes I like to have things, I don't always want something planted in something, so on the off chance I decide I want to do something with it where I don't want a hole in the bottom, I try to not do that if I don't have to. Okay, and then of course you have the standard just flower pots, so that's also a container garden. I actually have a espalier apple tree in this really big pot, and as long as I keep it pruned every year, it's doing great in this. So it's another thing. You can even have a little orchard if you don't have a lot of space. Well, it looks like Sasson has found another one of my fun containers. This one's filled with catnip, so I'll show you this one next. This is just an old, actually like a thermos, like the inside of one, and it's enamel, and it already had a hole rusted in the bottom. So again, I put some catnip in it, and it grows great in here. You can see she found it all on her own, so she really enjoys it, but it adds a cute little whimsy a little whimsy to the garden. Okay, and this is another one. So this is really simple. We just used some of these redwood, I guess, ties that you can get just at most garden centers, and we just made a very short raised bed. It's less than a foot tall, but it does the job for a barrier around the chicken coop, so that's another great easy way to do a container. Another pretty pot that I have a miniature dwarf peach tree in this one, so it stays small. Still gonna need to prune it, but it's another way you can do in a container. Okay, now this is probably my favorite container, I think, at the moment in the garden. I have a few really cool ones, but this was like an old piece of an implement from like a tractor implement. It's got cool writing on the outside of it, but it is totally empty on the bottom. There's nothing in there, so what I did was I actually added some brick to the bottom so it doesn't completely enclose it, but that way the plant doesn't grow into the ground, because I don't want to have to. And so I just planted my new heirloom rose in that, and that should do great in there, so I'm really excited about that. Again, I have it just kind of, you know, mixed in with other regular pots like these terracotta pots and all of that. This section has a whole bunch of different containers in it. I actually have a bunch of, there's like an old apple pick, and I have it kind of just around this simple brick bed. So that's another way to do an easy raised bed, is you can just stack bricks and do that. Another old pail there. Sasson's still enjoying her treat in the garden. Okay, this was another fun project I did last year, about a year ago. It's an old charcoal barbecue. I just didn't have the lid for it, but it was really basic. You can check out the reel I did of that last year. It's pretty cool. But succulents, again, it's got a little drainage in it. Okay, here's another area. Okay, these might be my second favorite, or tied with that last one. This is another cool old galvanized bin. I put a liner in it with some drainage just so it lasts a little bit longer out here, and that works really well. I also have an old crock with some rosemary in it. The crock was broken when I got it, so basically the rosemary just doesn't ever move because I don't want the crock to break anymore. So I wouldn't recommend putting a brand new crock, or a crock that you don't want to get broken outside though, because it won't like the weather. But that one was already broken, so I figured okay, and I love the look of it. Okay, now this one's pretty cool, maybe a little unusual. I have my plum tree here in an old garbage can, but I mean, it's kind of the prettiest garbage can you've ever seen, right? It's definitely old. It's got a handle on it. I did have to drill holes in the bottom, but I've had it in there 1 full year, and it's doing so good, so I'm really excited about that one. Okay, and here is another one. So this is, you've surely seen these. This is super popular. Another way to do a raised bed. It's also nice and tall, so easy to work with. I have my artichokes growing in here, and they love it. These can be a little spinnier than some things unless you can get them used, but they are really cool. So it's just a trough, and you definitely have to have holes in the bottom. They do not come with that because the point is to hold water in them, so just remember. So as you can see, there is an infinite amount of possibilities of container gardening. It's a great way to save space. You can use objects you already have. You just want to remember drainage is probably the most important thing when you're using a container that's not meant to have something planted in. And just get creative. It's a lot of fun to discover something new to plant in, and it gives your garden a touch of your creativity and speaks to you. So get outside, get creative, and get in the garden.